It looks like a big fountain, you know, it's round and then it's got the spigot there's like three spigots that come up out of the center there.
Yeah, there was an 89-year-old there filling up her water, and she looked like she was 40.
Not quite.
No?
But I was hopeful, so I felt...
Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey everybody, it's Chris.
And Chris.
And we are tripping with the Chris's.
Coming at you from our RV.
Yes, we are. And I'm just going to say it was a hot one today.
Miserable.
This week we are bringing you Hot Springs National Park.
Arkansas.
Absolutely.
Hot Springs actually got its start from the Native American tribes. They called the location the Valley of the Vapors. They believed that the natural hot springs had healing powers. Even warring tribes are said to have bathed here in peace. And then Hernando de Soto was the first European explorer to visit hot springs in 1541. Pretty old area. In 1832, Congress designated hot springs as a federal reserve, essentially establishing the first national park.
So, Hot Springs, because it was designated a federal reserve, actually became the first national park, or kind of in a roundabout. It's a good trivia question that a lot of people don't get, and it's coming out a little more. I've heard it on a couple podcasts within like the last month about how Hot Springs is, you know, because it was a federal reserve, is kind of really the first national park and not Yellowstone. Although Yellowstone is the first congressional national park, but Hot Springs is the first federal reserve.
So I guess it's debatable.
How's that for going in a circle?
Yep. Between 1892 and 1923, 8 bathhouses were built on what's known today as Bathhouse Row. This area along the Grand Promenade was designated as National Historic Landmark District in 1987.
Last week we did the Hot Springs National Park KOA, and we had talked about the nice thing about parking there is they have a shuttle that takes you round trip from the KOA to Hot Springs National Park for $5 round trip, I think, per person. And it drops you off right at the corner of
Reserve and Central Avenue.
Right, which is the start of Bathhouse Row.
Which is the national park.
Yes.
It's the start of the national park.
Start of the national park. And here's the really crazy thing about Hot Springs National Park is Central Avenue is the dividing line for Hot Springs National Park and Hot Springs City.
So basically Bathhouse Row is on one side of the street, and it's just like its namesake. It's just bathhouse after bathhouse after bathhouse. And it is federal land. That is the park.
Yep.
Across the street, just walk across the street, and that's the county.
Yeah, well, now you're in Hot Springs City Police.
Yeah. So where we started was the very beginning of Bathhouse Row, which was the national park. Now, I know that we went into Fortis Bathhouse, and Fortis is the visitor center. And that one you can, that's not the one where we got our passports, is it? I think Fortis is the one you tour, and it's a self-guided tour, and it's set up the way the bathhouses were in the 30s and 40s, I guess. and then you just go through and you can see how the dressing rooms and just there were rooms to relax and have a smoke or a drink or socialize, and then the bath rooms themselves, with each one was different, had different amenities. You know, some had showers in them, some just had a chair next to the tub. Some had like sitz baths next to a tub or a shower. They even had some for people that were, say, paralyzed, and they had these tables they would put them on, and then they would run it on a track.
Yep.
That ran across the ceiling into a room, and then they would lower it into one of these baths where they were getting their healing therapy.
Yeah, so all the water that is used in the bathhouses come from the springs, and the springs are 147 degrees coming out of the springs, up from the ground. And the cool thing is, this is all done by pressure going through the fissures, and not by any kind of volcanic action or anything like that. So the pressure pushing the water through the fissures brings the water out at 147 degrees. And there are 62, 65 springs throughout Hot Springs. Most of them are covered up. They have a square box down them. They're locked. It
would be pretty dangerous for someone to fall in it.
Yeah.
You'd get scalded for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have some fountains that are the springs, and I mean, you can go up there and you can touch the water or whatever, and it's hot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they have some. There's a little tour that you can take. We didn't do it. We would like to next time, but we just ran out of time. But there's a tour, a foot tour, and it goes up the mountain back behind the Bathhouse Row.
Yeah, Bathhouse Row. Yeah, there's a hiking trail that goes up back
Row.
there. Yep.
Yeah. And so you can hike back up in there, and it's pretty lush, and there's some overlooks to some of the fountains, and placards that tell you about the different stops along the way. Yeah, it's pretty. We just did one at the very end of Bathhouse Row. Stuck our hands in the water, not for long.
No, it was very hot.
Yeah.
And then we walked up to Superior.
Yeah, we were hungry, so the only place to eat over there is a brewery. It's at the very end of Bathhouse Row, and it is in an old bathhouse. They've converted it to this restaurant brewery. They do brew their own beer there. I think you can buy other beers, bottled beers.
I don't know. I do know though that it is the only brewery in a national park.
And yeah,
right. So it's kind of like a
country,
nostalgic place to eat because of it, and they have flights. I got a 5-flight beer and picked them out, and they were all pretty good. They were. I had the jalapeno. I had a jalapeno. That was actually pretty good. Then I had a fruity beer, and that was pretty good.
I had a cider. That's what I had.
And then so we ate, and it was like, it wasn't dinner, but it wasn't lunch, and it's not brunch, so I don't know what you call it.
It was probably 3:30, 4 o'clock, so it was a very early dinner, but we hadn't eaten lunch.
No, do you remember our waitress's name?
I do not.
Oh, she was awesome.
She was great. I had a burger.
And I had a burger.
And fries. And
I think everybody at the table had a burger.
It was really good. Really good.
The only bad part about that I found is that they don't cook the burgers any way you want. You getting them well done.
Yeah, they say they're fresh, but they still they won't cook them anything less than well done.
Yeah, and I'm a medium rare person.
Me too. But it was still good.
No, it was really good.
It wasn't dry or anything.
Nope. Yeah.
And the next day we went back into town. We got passports for the national parks. which was kind of fun, and we stamped them. Then we went and we had a massage.
We did.
We had a couples massage at one of the bathhouses. Q-Paw, that's the one we went to. It's more modernized. The other one that offers, I don't think they offer massage.
They do.
They do offer massages? Yep.
They offer massages, steam baths, mineral baths, but it's all in the original.
Yeah, and I don't remember.
So when you're doing a steam bath, you're sitting in one of the boxes with your head sticking out.
I'm a little too claustrophobic
Yeah.
for that. But we enjoyed our massage. They have pools there too that you can, it's the springs water
Yep.
that you can hang out in, but they were closing when we finished up, so
And that was
we didn't
that was
get
20,
to do that.
That's $20 a person.
Mhm.
So
And first come, first serve. You can't reserve it.
So-
That was the extent of our trip
Yeah.
there, right?
that was it.
No.
Oh, it wasn't either. We have something else too.
Okay, so we went. I guess earlier that day, I'd taken jugs. The whole town. There's a fountain. There are several fountains around the city, and it's water that comes from the springs, and it's all
147 degrees.
it's purified water, and it's good to drink, healthy for you, and so people will come. You know, grocery stores have those water. You fill your gallon jugs up for 25 cents, and a lot of people go and do that for drinking water. But in town, people will bring all their jugs and whatever, mason jars, whatever containers they have, and they'll fill up their water. But it comes out at what?
147 degrees.
It is very, very hot. Well, I had 3. What?
No, keep going. Just because I think it's.
I had 3 bottles, like water.
The Yeti containers.
Yeah. big
Although we
old-
use Arctic, we don't use Yeti. We use Arctic. But anyways, same thing.
Yeah, so I had 3 of those, and I took them into town in my backpack. And before we went back to the RV park, the KOA, I filled those 3 up.
Yep.
And that water stayed hot for 3 days.
You could have made hot tea for 3 days later. Now that being said, the stores, the tourist trap stores to go buy your little knickknacks and stuff in there, they sell plastic 1-gallon milk jugs. Well, they're not milk jugs, water jugs or whatever.
Yeah.
For like $2.99. So if you forget your jug, you can always go buy one for $2.99 or however much you are.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So, but that fountain is right on the corner of Reserve and Central.
Yes.
And that's the only one that I saw that you could fill your jugs up at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe others.
And we
but-
saw a lot of locals. They'd park across the street in the parking lot
Yep.
or along the street, and then go over there and fill up all their containers and go back.
Yeah.
There was like, it looks like a big fountain. You know, it's round, and then it's got the spigot There's like 3 spigots that come up out of the center there.
Yeah, there was an 89-year-old there filling up her water, and she looked like she was 40.
Not quite.
No?
But I was hopeful, so I filled 3 jugs, and I drank every drop.
She did.
All
and you're
by
still
myself. Aw.
beautiful. So that was our trip at Hot Springs, and I hope you guys enjoyed us giving our little rendition or
of our
just
trip.
kind of hanging out with us in Hot Springs. We'll definitely go back to Hot Springs.
That was a very enjoyable time. We hope you guys enjoyed our trip to Hot Springs like we did, and if you plan to go soon, check it out. Enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. Don't forget to subscribe,
Like,
and ring the bell for notifications. Next week, see you later.
be kind.
Bye.